Hello everyone, happy Saturday. Hope you guys all had a fantastic week. It is about 3 minutes to 2 o'clock, so we're gonna start pretty soon. Just getting this going. I'm back on my phone doing the lives because the computer is still not my friend. So we're gonna continue with this, so hopefully you guys can see me all right. And we will get started just a little bit after 2 just to get people into the groove. The painting this week is a silhouette image on a really nice a dark sky, starry night, and it's of like a dad and a little kid. So that's what I'll walk you guys through that. I suggest if you are starting to watch, grab the image from the post, just have it available as a reference. Since I can't have it here, I haven't mastered all that technology stuff yet to be able to do that and share it at the same time. But there you go, so you can do that and then I'll just walk you through it. This is an inspiration image again, so I'm going to be doing it very similarly, but I'm still going to be doing kind of my own spin on it, and I'll walk you guys through how I would approach it. And that's how we'll do it. And if you have any comments or if you have any suggestions or great idea or anything you want to share, feel free to write in the comments and share with everyone, because it's awesome to hear from you. I'm not an expert. I love to do it. I love to share it. I think I'm pretty good at it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too. But there's still more I can learn, and like I want to hear what you guys have to say too. So please do that. Hi Linda, how are you? Nice for you to join us. I don't know if I've seen you pop on before, so thank you for joining. Hi Lindsay, hope you're doing well. It's so nice today. It's like a beautiful, like breezy, beautiful day. So I was thinking, I'm like, I don't know how people are gonna join today because it's really nice, and I think some of the restrictions have been lifted. So I'm like, does everyone just run out to like go touch someone that they haven't seen in a while? We'll see how it goes. What size? So the canvas size I'm using is an 8x10 canvas board. That's what I'm using, but you can really put this image on anything. This image is a landscape image, so that's what I'm using. And obviously the canvas size, if you're using something much bigger or something smaller, that's going to affect the brushes or anything else that you use, even how much paint you're going to use. So just keep that in mind for that. The image that we're doing today is, let me just bring my computer's still happening, it's just not online. This is the image there, so I'm just gonna show you guys. So we're gonna be starting that in about maybe like 3-4 minutes. Just gonna give people a little more time and I'll just keep getting things set up. Hi Gulshan, I'm glad you're joining again. Yay, that's awesome. It's so crazy to think that you're in Pakistan and you're watching me. That's incredible. So that's really cool. Thank you for joining. I'm glad that you're back. It's really great. And of course, Linda, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Doing this has given me a lot of purpose, and I really love that you guys come on and have a little like social gathering. I wish I could hear you guys' voices and we could actually talk a little bit as we're going through it. Oh, me too. I love landscape. Landscapes are one of my favorite. I love painting skies and especially water. Water is one of my favorite things, and like having the reflection, and it's just so pretty. And the great thing is, like, I feel like you can't really go wrong. Like, you can just play with it and have fun and bring out your own creativity. It's awesome. All right, so I am going to get a little bit ready, get my paints on. Hey Denise, how are you? I went to elementary school with Denise, and now she's just jumped on. That's really exciting. Hi, Denise. I love people. It's so fun to have you guys on here. Okay, cool. I'm going to start putting some paint on my canvas. As a reminder, the paints that we're using are the basic colors there. So we have our red, yellow, blue, white, and black. My paints are not fancy. They're all from the dollar store. Some of them are better conditioned than others. When I put them on my palette, I'm just going to be, I'm gonna put a lot of blue because that's gonna be the main back. I'm gonna put a little bit of red, a decent amount of black just to get started. Acrylic paint, for anyone who isn't as familiar with it or just getting comfortable with it, it dries very quickly. So just be cautious of that. I wouldn't put You might want to put a little bit of yellow if you want to get some gradients going in, but I would be cautious about how much you put on because it's gonna dry very fast, which is a blessing and a curse, as we talk about a lot. So I have my paints, we have our canvas, I have my container of water, I have some paper towel beside me, and I have some brushes. I have, well, I'm predominantly going to be the three main brushes we'll use, so like kind of a big one to get good overall coverage, a medium size, and this one looks a little thicker, but it actually does adjust very nicely into like a fine point, do some details. So yeah, but you can really use anything. Again, my brushes are in various conditions. I've had them probably since I was in high school, so they're a little bit questionable on how I took care of them at that point, but they're still working pretty decently, so it's all good. Ideally, you want to make sure that if you have acrylic paint, you don't let it dry on the bristles because it will ruin it. So well, as we're going through, just making sure, I'll talk you guys through my process and just ensuring that you're clearing them off as you go. Adjusting to motherhood, Denise. Oh, I didn't know you had a child. That's fantastic. It's an adjustment, that's for sure. I feel ya. My son's 8, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's awesome, and it's also it's a crazy experience. So enjoy. Yes, I love painting too, Gulshan. It's like my favorite thing. And hey, Alex, thanks for joining. Glad that you're here. You laugh, Denise. It's true. Yeah, all the mothers know. It's like, it's beautiful and you love it and you never want to say anything bad about it, but it also is like, you drive yourself crazy a little bit. You're like, I love you, but you're driving me insane. But yeah, but you're like, I can't say that because I have to love this person so much. I can't say that. Anyways, okay, cool. So I'm going to start, so I just put my hair up because, you know, I don't want my hair getting in the way. And then I'm just going to get some paint on my palette, and then we're going to get started. So it's 2:04. I've been talking for a while. Coolio. I'm just going to get quite a bit of blue. My palette is always really dirty, so yeah, that's probably also not a good idea. You probably want a cleaner palette. But I'm going to get quite a bit of blue on here. It's a little chunky, so give me a second. Hi, Shahida. Nice to see you too. I don't think I've seen you on here before either. Thanks for joining. Okay, so come on, blue, work with me here. All right, guess that's what we're getting for now, and then we'll go from there after. Awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit of red. I'm gonna get some white going. And a little bit of black. How old is your child, Denise? He's already getting his own personality then. Definitely not like a newborn, but I found it like really, really difficult. The first year was really hard, I think, for a lot of people. But like, yeah, once he smiled after about a month and he started like interacting back, I was like, okay, this is a lot more fun. But he's been alive for 8 years, so we're good. I'm doing something right. He seems to be pretty happy and smart. He comes on some of these, I don't know if you guys have seen him around, but he's a ham like me, so. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I have my paint going on. I'm going to adjust the camera angle to the canvas so you guys can start seeing that. I will try to keep an eye on the comments. Sometimes they scroll and I see them automatically and sometimes they don't. So if I don't respond to you right away, I apologize, but I'll try to be on top of that as I go. So yeah, let's start it up, guys. Hi, Anita. Oh, you're tired? Oh, shoot. What's going on with you? Hopefully this will be like a relaxing experience and you'll enjoy it. Maybe be too relaxing, you'll like fall asleep. Just don't like fall in the paint. Okay, so now we have our canvas going. So let's start it off. So we're going to, how do I want to start it off first? I'm going to go with my bigger brush and I'm going to start putting in some of the blue. This particular painting isn't very dark on the top at all because it really just has the silhouette that brings that in. So I'm just going to start with my big old fat brush and dip my brush into the blue paint quite a bit. And let's just start blocking it where we want that night sky. So I'm just going to start in the corner like that. as I'm doing it, depending on the canvas you have, especially if you have like the thicker side canvases that you can hang, make sure you always paint the sides and the top, because if you're planning to hang it and you forget that later, I know for me, well, I might just be like a control freak. Well, I might be. I'm definitely a control freak and I like things to look really nice. So that's always something that bothers me. So I suggest just like touching it up as you go. With my particular, I'm noticing already with this canvas and with this brush, you can probably see it too much in the actual camera, but it's not like covering it solidly. So I'm probably gonna need another coating of it. So I'm just gonna get this on here first, and then I might put a little bit more once it dries, which is the benefit of it drying fast, because then we can get some good coverage on it. So one thing with your canvas too, some canvases are thicker and more rough than others, and some are a lot finer. If your canvas is pretty rough to the touch, when we're doing a lot of the fine details, it's going to be harder to get that precision of line. So I just wanted to call that out to you guys now, because I know for me, sometimes I can get really frustrated when it's not cooperating. So sometimes the canvas is actually the culprit more than our skills. But knowing that can help you kind of approach it differently, and like we can troubleshoot that. Linda, no, with this one I didn't. I just went right with the paint. I found that when I wet the brush first, I do that a lot when I want to do blending and I want to keep the canvas wet for longer. Usually for bigger canvases, if I was doing like an 11 by 14 or something, I would absolutely wet it and wet the canvas a little bit just so I could blend things off, because I want the paint to stay wet for longer. But because I'm using such a small canvas, I did not wet the brush first, nor did I wet the canvas first. Okay, so I'm just gonna start playing a little bit with the sky. I'm putting a little bit of white on the brush. So I have the back is this blue, and I'm just gonna put in a little bit of light. So I'm just gonna put in some white and just like bringing it in. Again, it's gonna be a little bit different than the image we see here. Now the sky itself, there's like a hill. Okay, we're gonna bring the sky down a bit lower than where I want my land. Ooh, I touched yellow by mistake. That's okay. That happens. I'm just gonna get this and get it a little bit lighter, just to get some. I don't like how it's like super just one color blue. I kind of want it to have a little bit more into it. I still want it to be pretty dark though. I have to keep that in mind. My tendency is that I want to make it brighter and like more colors. But if it's a night sky, we want the stars to pop, so I need to make sure I keep it dark enough. Okay, so I just want to have a little bit there, and then I'm going to get a little bit of the red, and I'm going to start putting some red in, and it's going to start mixing, and it's going to start giving me some nice purples. So I'm going to keep the red more along the bottom. And that's kind of, like, you'll see in the picture it's more of a pink, but it will turn into a pink once we add a little bit more to it. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of white on my brush. Might be more of a purplish, but that'll be okay. Okay, so I'm just bringing it across and bringing it upwards into my paint that I've already kind of mixed there. Okay, so I just have a gradient kind of effect going. Okay, let me see, how do I want to do this? I want to put a bit more blue. I want to make sure it stays dark enough. Okay, so now that I have kind of that base going on, I'm just going to get a little bit of the dark blue again, and you're seeing like I'm just like kind of like dabbing it on a bit just to bring some of that blue back into that kind of purpley reddish kind of color I've built in there, and it kind of gives that feeling of like drifty clouds kind of. And then I'm just touching it as I go. My brush is still pretty wet. I haven't rinsed it or cleaned it yet. It's still the same brush from before. I've just been like pulling the same colors from there. Okay. I'm just softening it as I'm doing this. I'm just going around the canvas. And again, I'm able to do this pretty quickly because the canvas is small and everything's still wet. Again, if you have a bigger canvas, it's going to like dry faster and it might be a little harder to do that. Okay. Awesome. Hi, Linda. Okay, I'll go a little bit. I'll give you guys a little bit more time. I do tend to go a little bit fast. I apologize. I've always had this issue of like talking very quickly, and then I think I end up doing like everything else pretty quick too. Sorry for that, guys. Okay. Not really digging that. I think I want this to be a little bit more pink-like, so I'm gonna let this part dry a bit at the bottom, and then I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna maybe pre-make a pink on my palette and then reapply it just to make it pop a bit more. Okay, cool. And Darlene, will this video be saved? Yes, absolutely. So on our painting parties page, all the videos of our lives are there. So you can watch it whenever you so desire. It'll be up there. I don't have no plans of taking it down, so you can do it whenever your heart desires, whenever it makes sense for you guys. Okay. So let you guys continue working on that. As you guys do, like I said, I wanted to touch up the top because it's very streaky and I want it to be a bit more opaque, so I'm just gonna touch that since that's dried at this point. So I'm just gonna touch that up as you guys continue doing some streaking and doing some other fun stuff. There's still white paint on there. Just don't really want to see the back of the canvas on here. I'm just going to darken it a little bit to make sure it looks like a night sky and not like a blue sky, because again, I have issues with wanting it to be brighter. And you can really bring it as far down as you want. I'm just gonna kind of go there because I want my land to kind of come up just above that line. Just make sure you make it go below wherever you want your land and your silhouette to be. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep just making it a little bit darker in some spots. I'm like debating whether I want to add like a dab of black just to make the sky a little darker in the corners, and I think I'm gonna try that. So if you want to do that too, black is super powerful, so don't put a lot on. I'm just adding it to the very tippy top corner of my brush. My brush is already still soaked in the paint, and I'm just going to put like just a little bit of black in the corner, and my canvas is still wet, so I'm just gonna brush it in just to make it a little bit darker up here. But I don't want a lot of black because I really want the black in the silhouette to pop when we do that. So I really want to still keep it blue, but I need more streaks of color up there. Whether it's a hue of black or whether it's actual color, I just need something else happening. I don't like it to be super straight. And as I'm doing it, I'm just like touching it and then just like streaking it in a bit and blending it that way. I think I'm just gonna add it to that corner, I think. I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of thinking and talking out loud as I'm doing it, so. But I would do this regardless if people were watching me or not, so at least now I don't look as crazy. That's good. That's a positive. All right. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks pretty. Okay. I'm not like super loving this bottom part here. I feel like it's a little bit weird. So I think it's still pretty wet. I'm gonna wait till it dries off a little bit more, and then I want to either change brush, or I want to bring yeah, I'm either gonna change. I think I'm probably just gonna change the brush off and change the color on that. Hey Dylan, nice that you're watching. It's too bad I can't see you. Hi. Hi Sarah, thanks for joining in, stopping on by. All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm just going to, at this point, because I want to make more of a brighter pink color. I think I'm gonna have to put a little bit of yellow to make a pop bit there too. I'm not 100% sure. We'll play with it and see what we want to do. I want to make that bottom part come out more. So what I'm gonna do is, with the current brush I was using, I'm just gonna stick it in my water container and then just clean it off. So I don't know if I'm gonna use this one right now. I might switch over for a bit with a different one. Be mindful of your water container too. Actually, this painting shouldn't be too bad because we're kind of going from blue. Later on we'll be using like a black, so it's not bad. But if you're ever going from like a darker color to a lighter color, you want to make sure that your water is pretty clean, because it will absolutely affect your colors. May seem obvious, but I've absolutely tried that before, where I'm too lazy to go get more water, and then I've done that, and then it does not turn out very well. All right, so on my palette, I'm just gonna pull some red and white together and just play with making a pink that I like. And the way I'm doing that, and again I'll show you, but it's a little embarrassing because my palette's like really dirty, is I just put some white on my brush and I'm just bringing it to my red, and I'm just playing a little bit with the colors until I get kind of a pink I want to play with. Alternately, if you have a pre-mixed pink, you can always use that. That's always a little, it's nicer in some ways obviously, because then if you need more, it's easy for you just to like squirt more on your palette and you're good to go. Mixing can be a little bit weird, but again, we can, I don't know, play with the colors. Like, I'm not super hung up on making sure it's exactly the same. I don't mind it being a bit funky and different. So this is pretty light. I'm gonna maybe add a little bit of yellow into it. Maybe warm it up a smidgen. Yeah, I like that. It's going. All right, so I'm just gonna put this, just gonna bring it all the way down and then just up my hill. It's just a little bit lighter. And then from this color, I think I will then mix in some more red and maybe some more yellow, and then get some of that brightness coming into it. So I just have this like kind of peachy color, and then now I'm just putting some more red back into it to make it a little bit brighter. Also, it depends too, because if you're using a red, like for example, this red I'm using from this brand is called Deep Red, but there's so many types of red, and depending on the red, the way it's mixed, it might have more of one type of value than another already kind of mixed in it. So it's going to come out differently on the canvas. It's not going to all turn out the same way. I'm just going to bring that up. Kind of looks like a weird land thing. I don't know if I like that. Just going to bring some of that blue back in. And just blend it off a little bit. Looks almost like a weird red sea right now. I don't know if I like that. I don't know, it's good. Actually, now that I went a little bit further back, I'm like, okay, it's not too bad. think I'm liking that. The streakiness is still a bit odd for me, so I think I'm gonna switch up my brush and touch up the sky a bit and just make it a little bit softer. Hope you guys can see it okay. I do have a beautiful HD camera that I really want to hook up to my computer and then have this going so you can see it like really nicely, and that is the intention at some point. One day you will see all the mistakes on my canvas, but right now it's a little bit blurry and it looks really nice from I think what you can see. Okay, so I'm just switching my brush to more of like the more medium size one I have here. I just want to touch up my sky a bit because I find it a little streaky and it's still a little light, and I don't know if I want it that light. So I'm just going to add a little bit more blue to it. I lightened it up and then I darkened it. That's what happens sometimes. Okay. That's a bit weird. No, I don't like that. I got a little bit of black on the brush and that did not turn out very well. I'm just gonna try and clear that off a bit. Counter it with some white and some more blue. Sometimes that happens, and it's okay if mistakes happen. They're not mistakes, just like work with it. That's fine. So I'm just gonna put some more blue, and again, acrylic's great. If you put something on you, or if you're doing this and you're like, I absolutely hate it, it's not working, I don't like the color, just take a little break, let it dry, and then you can paint right over it. So, and sometimes actually having layered, like doing that and like putting a layer, letting it dry, and then putting more paint on top, it actually does build, it makes it more texture, like it gives it more body to it. I don't know if that's the right term, but for me, I find that sometimes it just looks better. I guess that's really what I'm trying to say. It could just look better. Oh, and maybe, you know what, I just thought actually, because I was just talking about how like the canvases are all different, like some of them are a lot more rough than other ones. Maybe that's what I like about it, because if you add a layer and you add another layer, then obviously it's gonna kind of be a bit easier to like glide off of. I don't think the bumpiness is gonna be there as much. That's probably why I like it. Let's go with that. That's the reason. Sounds good. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's doing what I want it to do. Of course, then I touch somewhere else and I'm like, no. Okay, so I touched somewhere else and I didn't like it, so I put a little bit of water on my brush, and then I'm trying to like blend it in so it doesn't have the same amount of impact. So if you make a mistake like that, like I just did, and I put some blue into the pink where I didn't want it, I'm getting another brush which is dry, or sorry, not dry, it's clean, that's what I meant to say. I put a little bit of water on there, just like a dab, you don't want it to be super runny, and then I'm just like, almost like erasing it. Going from the pink and then bringing it into like my mistake I just made. And then it kind of just, it's working, and it's still kind of looking kind of cloudy like. You don't want to pull too much because then it will pull like all the paint off, especially if your bristles are really hard. Like this one's a little bit hard. So just be cautious of that. Okay, cool. I think that's all right. If I don't like the way that, this is a little bit almost, you can see the canvas there, but I might just make my land cover it, because that's what I like to do. All right, so I think that I'm going to keep my sky looking the way it looks right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a little bit until it dries up. I'm going to just rinse off my brush right now. Hi Marion, thank you. I'm glad you think it looks nice. I'm really happy about that. No worries. You made like a, what do they call that? Those like grand entrances. If you're not late, you're like making an entrance, so it's okay. That's why it's a party. It's all good. Hey Genevieve. Glad you stopped in. Cool. All right, so I think it's starting to dry up a little bit here. It's a little bit tricky. It's a little dark in this room today because the light from the window is being a bit weird. But yeah, I'm liking the blending. I can bring it a bit close. I don't know if it's helping to see it. That's it. Fashionably late. Exactly. You're just being fashionably late. That's all good. Well, just imagine, like, I don't even know what you look like, or like, what about just imagine you being like glamorous, like coming in and like just, you know. Okay, perfect. So that's drying a little bit. That's cool. The next step before we move into the silhouette, so once the sky has dried off, it doesn't have to dry off fully. Like if it's still a little wet, that's totally fine. When we do the stars and stuff, we're just gonna like splatter it on. So whether the background's still wet or not, it's fine. When we paint the moon, you want that area to be dry because it will pull the acrylic into it. So if you try and put a white moon on the blue, and the blue's still wet, that moon's gonna be blue, which could be cool. But let's try to stick with it, and then you can always add a little bit if that so happens. I'm just gonna see, I think my corner here is working out well. Yeah, so this is fully dry for me right now. So I'm gonna pop in the moon. And it's a little crescent. We'll see how that goes. All right, so I'm gonna use my thin brush. What I'm gonna do with this brush before I start is I'm gonna put it in water and get the bristles to somewhat of a control place. Not all brushes are created equal. This is like a cheap brush, but some of my brushes work better than others. Sometimes you just have to have a feel for it. I know it kind of sucks in terms of me, like, you know, trying to direct you guys into the best way to do it, but sometimes like one will feel better for you, and that's the brush you should use. If you feel like you have a bit more control on it, do it. So what I'm gonna do with my white paint is I'm just getting white paint on this brush, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know where, there we go. So I'm just like loading it on, and I'm just putting a bit of water into that paint. Not a lot, but I want the consistency when I'm doing anything kind of like detailed like this to be almost like ink. So it's not as thick as the paint, a little bit watery. You don't want it super watery, or else you're gonna see the blue behind it, and that sucks. Or it might like drip down the page, which is a cool technique to do in sometimes, but not necessarily when you don't want it to happen. All right, so I'm just going to play with it a little bit. And as I'm with the brush, now that I've put some water, I'm just like rolling it a little bit in the paint pool that I made, just to make sure it comes out. That's how I'm kind of just, I find it a good way to like get the paint on there and to stay in a way that's more, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, like just easier and smoother to work with. Okay, this is going to be interesting because I feel like the point's not going to be where I want it to be. Okay, so what I always suggest is always make your shapes smaller or thinner than what you want them to be at the end, because you can always build them outwards, but it's more annoying to have to like fix it and make it smaller. So I'm going to kind of just make a C. So just kind of like draw like a weird letter C. Maybe it's a little more crescenty, I suppose, than this. And then I'm just gonna make sure the tips. So I think you can, I don't know if you can see that. Okay, hopefully you can. Okay. Fine, this music sounds a bit more like intense, and it's like this is the time to focus. So then I'm just working it out to make it a little bit thicker. Okay, and then I just put a little bit more white paint. Just be cautious, because sometimes then I just do something else, and then I end up ruining my line. So just make sure the paint that you're dipping back in is still a little wet and easy and smooth, and that will allow you to get a little bit of a finer point sometimes. Again, it depends on the bristles too, and it again depends on how coarse your canvas is. So if you're not getting it like a perfectly fine line, don't beat yourself up over it. Just embrace it. It's all good. Does it look like a cutesy? Perfect. And if it really just doesn't turn out, just make it into a full moon. It's all good. It can be any time of the moon cycle. Doesn't matter. It's your sky. It's all good. Okay, so that's my moon for now. We'll see how that goes. The crescent in the picture actually looks a little bit more like a chilled hammock. Mine looks a little bit more like an attacking sea, but that's okay. We're gonna go with that for now. Okay, next up, and it's pretty freaking huge. Maybe I made mine too big. Anyways, fine. We'll just keep that as that is. Okay. Fine. Next up. Okay, so let's play with the stars. So we can do the stars in a couple different ways. We can either, you can be particular and want very prominent stars. This particular picture has quite large stars that are very noticeable. So we can do that. I think I do want to put a few of those in. And then that would literally, you get your paintbrush, you're going to put white paint, and then you're just going to like dot it. And you just want to be cautious of your brush to make sure that it's actually, basically the brush can change shape, and sometimes it can look like a weird stamp. So it may not look like a dot or a star or like a whatever. It might have like a weird like thing, and you don't want it to look like that everywhere. So just be cautious of that when you're doing stars like that. Before I do that is I actually just want to splatter a little bit on, just to have some distant stars going on. So I'm gonna get my bigger brush. If you have like an old like toothbrush or whatever, that works too. But I'm just gonna get this bigger brush. I'm gonna put paint on it, quite a bit of paint. And then I'm just going to splatter it. And this is a kind of an awkward angle. With my finger, my finger's getting dirty, so, that can happen too. That's okay. It's a cluster of stars, it's fine. Okay. It's awkward doing this on camera because I can't like move my canvas around. So please, when you're doing it, get into a position, move the canvas to where it's comfortable for you. Okay, so that kind of gives the background. I want to fix that blotch. But it's okay, because when I make a mistake, I'll show you how to fix the mistake I make. So then if you make a similar mistake, then it's all okay. Which it is. Okay. Alright, so I have some distant stars going on, which I like. They look pretty cute. I don't like my blotchy blotchness. Okay, I'm just going to... So I have another brush. It was pretty dry. And I'm just getting some blue, and I'm just hiding my mistake. Like that. There you go. Ta-da! Cool. All right. So let's put a few little stars. There's a nice like shooting star that's here. So maybe let's put that one in first. Okay. So I'm just gonna get my thin brush, put some paint. Doesn't matter where you want to put it. Let's put it here. So that's the base of it. Okay. And then I'm just going to swoosh it up. So there's like my shooting star there. So I'm starting from where the star is, and then you just bring it upwards and try to make that line pretty straight. My angle made me kind of curve a little bit, so just if you can be flat on a table or something, just try to make it more straight, because it's going so fast that it should just be a straight line. It shouldn't be a curved line. So there you go. So there's my shooting star. And then I'm just going to put some additional stars in the sky. So start it off and just put them anywhere you want. Some of these are going to be bigger, so I'm just going to go around and put these kind of in this size. At this point too, if there's like a constellation that you know and you love and you want to put that in, go for it. I don't know them by heart or anything, so that's not what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put dots all over the place. Okay. So those are my first kind of bigger stars. I might put some groupings. So there seems to be like some groups around in this area. I'm just trying to get it a little thinner too. So just moving my brush from one side to the other. Some clusters are a little bit more. Okay. Let's go back over here. Okay. So I'm just trying to make some smaller, some bigger. But I like the splatter in the background already because it already kind of has, like, it looks like there's some even smaller stars far away, especially on the smaller canvas. The way that looks, it, for me, I feel like it kind of goes well with it. Okay. So really, you just can do this as much or as little as you want. In the image, it has like quite a few stars on this side, quite a few stars at the top, and then it kind of like dissipates. I ended up putting a random constellation here. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't have. Technically, I guess it's kind of weird that you'd be able to see them in like the pink, but there's some stars showing up in the pink in the picture, so I'm not going to stress about that too much. Okay, just gonna put a few more. And this is something you can do some now, and then after you can say, oh, I actually want some more, and then put some more in. So whether we do a lot now or whether we wait till a little bit later once we put the silhouette in, really up to you. Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave it where it's at right now. And my bottom part is dry, so I'm gonna start blocking in the black for the silhouette. I'm trying to get any of my paint, my pants. Okay, cool. So, all right. Oh, my moon is like pretty freaking huge. It's kind of bothering me, but that's okay. I'm not gonna change it. All right, cool. So we're gonna put them on a hill, and I'm going to use just black paint. I'm using my medium-sized brush because I want to get quite a bit of coverage to get that hill in. And I'm just gonna block the top of it more or less, and that's kind of where my line is already there. And I'm just gonna bring this down and over. Doesn't have to be like a super straight line. It should be a little bit bumpy, I would say, like maybe have a little bit of like little curvies in it, because it's land and it will do that. And then it also doesn't need to be super smooth at the top because we're going to be putting in some little flicks of grass. Okay. Okay, and then we're just going to paint the whole bottom black. That's what the silhouette is. I'm just using the pure black paint on the canvas because I want it to be pretty opaque. Okay, then as I'm doing that, I'm also going to touch the bottom. And the sides. So I think I'm out of camera shot right now. I'm going to put it back down because it's still give the impression even if it rubs off a bit. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. I think I'm going to do the little grass lines after I do the placement for the silhouette of the dad and the child. Just because I don't know how big I want to do the silhouette of the dad and the child, and I feel like if I end up making the silhouette small, too small for example, and then if my grass lines are like really big and thick, it's gonna look really odd. They're gonna look like miniature people in like a big world, which can be funny. But because of that reason and that rationale, I want to block in my people and then make the grass strands in relation to the height of the people that we put in. Okay, so I suggest doing that as well. Up to you. You don't have to. It could be quite funny actually. It'd be like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Okay, so got the hill, got the background. It's coming out nicely. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna get my fine brush, and I'm gonna want to block in where I want the people. So this is can be a little intimidating. So similarly to what I said before with the moon, which clearly I didn't follow because now I feel like my moon is too big. But with your people, we're gonna kind of start with like a stick figure-ish, and then we're gonna like build out from there, so that it should be a little bit in proportion and it would work out. So yeah, so we're gonna start off with that, and then we're not gonna put any discernible features right off the hop. But then if you decide you want to give your dad guy a cap because yours always wears a cap, we can put that in and we can kind of make it our own. Alternately, if you want a different type of image, you can do that as well. So if you want to forego the whole dad and kid and you want to put a tree in there, put a tree instead. Totally cool. You can do whatever you want. So, and because it's a silhouette, it's literally an outline of an image. So I'll guide you through this, and then if you want to do something totally different, I'm excited to see those creations. So what I'm doing is I'm getting a little bit of water and putting it into my black paint with my thin brush, similar to what I did with the moon and the consistency of paint there. So it's easier for my brush to move on the canvas and the paint to move smoothly. So it becomes more like ink. Icky duckies. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna start off, I think, with thinking about where I want the dad to be. So I want the dad to be here. He's actually gonna be, in the image, he's really tall. Do I want him to be that tall or I want him to be smaller? I want him like that. I kind of wanted them like tinier. I'm not sure. Give me a second. Let me just think about this. How do I want him to be? I guess in the image his like head's like here. Then his body comes down. Okay, maybe we'll make him more true to the image and we'll make him bigger. My initial feeling with it was like I wanted him like tinier, and I think it's because the moon was so large. I think that's kind of throwing me off again, so we'll see how it goes. Okay. Okay, let's make him bigger. Okay, so I'm gonna have his head about here. So I'm just gonna put like a circle for his head. Okay, and then just build it out. Okay. So the body's gonna be here and then the legs. Okay, so we're gonna have the body. So we have the shoulders here. Okay, and then we have his actual neck. I'm going to build his head out a little bit more because he's a little weirdly shaped at the moment. I'm just gonna bring out his body a bit. It's kind of tilting a little weirdly. His bum-ish. And his leg, such his leg. And okay. And his front part of the body is gonna come down like that. His leg. His knees bent slightly, so I'm just gonna give it a little curve. I guess he's wearing kind of like, not flares, but something like that. Okay, so I'm just looking at the image and I'm trying to emulate that as best as I can. Okay, the legs again, so on this side it kind of comes down and then it's kind of his knee, and it comes in a bit, and then it comes out. And then as I'm going back up, I'm just filling in the gaps. I'm making my dad man. Maybe his butt's a little big. That's okay. This guy has a big butt. It's okay. And then he has his little, I guess, t-shirt arm. But that's too wide, and then he has his arm. Let's come out. Okay, so we got a figure going on. I don't know what's going on there. I think that needs to be a little straighter. I haven't put it in this side, that's what's throwing me off. Okay, so he has, his arm is kind of out. Oh, my paint is not very good. Hey Tina! Yeah, no worries. You don't. It's okay if you guys forgot. It's this will be on the Painting Parties page, so you can just watch this video anytime it's convenient for you. So it'll be live. Like once the live is done, then you'll be able to like watch it and pause it and start it and stop and do whatever you need whenever it's convenient. Okay. It's all good. Okay, so oof, that's a little bit too much paint on my brush. I just need his arm. There we go. Oh, it's a little better. So again, I'm starting a little thinner, and then I'm just going to build him out. There's like a little sleeve and his elbow. It looks like a weird arm versus a sleeve, but that's alright. Okie dokes. And his face is turned up a bit, so I'm just going to give a little bit of a chin, kind of. I want to bring that out more. See how this goes. Maybe I should have knocked his head back before. I got a bigger neck, I think. And there we go. He looks like he's looking up. Looks like he has a weird face, but that's alright. Maybe we'll give him some weird hair. Okay. Oh yeah, he looks like he's looking up. Yeah, sometimes I have to take a step back and look. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep it like that for now. My husband does not have hair, so I do want him to have kind of more of a bald head. So if yours, your dad that you're doing this for, you can now, like the guy in the picture seems to have like some nice like lofty hair, so you can then now put that in. If your dad that you're doing it has, you know, wears like a cap mostly, then that's when you can kind of like put a brim in and like kind of build a hat around. If he wears a cowboy hat, I'm trying to figure that out too. I don't know how to just talk through that. I would have to see a picture to kind of like guide that, but you can kind of play with it. So that's where you can kind of make it your own. Give him whatever hat he wants. Yeah, Lindsay's laughing. Yeah, whatever you want. You want to give him a top, whatever, anything. I was thinking, because my husband plays guitar, I was thinking of maybe trying to figure out and maybe putting like a silhouette of a guitar here. And I might do that, but I won't do that just yet because I totally want to just, I want to see an image of it before I do it. Yeah. Darsha. Oh, perfect. Okay, great. You heard my thing too. Okay, great. You guys can definitely just join later, you and Tina. But I want to see your paintings. I would love to see them. Granted, like I get it if you want to wait till after Father's Day to post it, just in case Dad's, if that is a gift. But I would love to see like a shot of it, because that's what's so fun for me. Okay, now we're gonna draw the child in. So it has, again, this child in this picture looks to be pretty young. My intention is I want to draw a child that's a little taller than the one in the picture, but we'll see if that happens when I put him in. Because my son's a bit taller. So I haven't put the dad's arm out yet because I don't know where the kid's gonna land. So I'm gonna draw the kid before I put the dad's arm reaching out to the kid, because I feel like if I put his arm first, he might be reaching out to like nothing or to like an awkward spot on this kid. Okay, so let's see where we want the kid head to be. So it looks like there's like a bit of a gap, a little bit, maybe like 2 or 3 little paintbrush hairs over. Let's plot in where we want this kid's head to be. Okay, so similar to what we just did with the dad image. Okay, but I'm gonna make his head tilt up first, and I think we'll see if this looks like a tilty head up. Okay, there we go. Kind of looks like a weird bean. Okay. Okay, good. Maybe his head should be closer to the dad. Well, maybe it'll just be the dad's hand will touch his head. I don't know yet. Okay. So there's the kid's neck. Oof. He's not really looking up. I think I kind of messed that up. Oh, I'll have to fix it later. Okay. Let's see. So we have his similar little arm. So it's like the shoulder, kind of where the sleeves are. I'm gonna kind of work down on the body. I don't think I'm breathing properly when I'm doing this. I don't know about you guys. I feel like I need to remind myself. Okay, breathe. Okay, there's a little shirt. Little shirt in his little pants. Kind of. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna put his clothes, and his legs are kind of out too. This one's kind of out, and it's bent or something. No, it's not really bent. Well, my leg's bent. His leg's bent, I should say. Okay. Kids go in weird positions. It's okay. Awesome. So let's. And this leg is gonna kind of do the same-ish thing, and then we'll fix it out. Okay. There you go. It's a body. That's cool. His sleeve looks kind of weird, but that's okay. Okay, so his arm is going to come back, and it kind of goes to Dad's leg. try not to make it too big. Looks a little bit weird, but that's okay. I'm gonna kind of make it look like his hand. Let's go there, like that. Okay. And then I just want to make sure my paint's still wet and good to be flowy. Hi, Mary. Hope we're doing well today. Okay, so this hand's gonna be interesting because you kind of see a finger on it. All right, let's see how that goes. Maybe he'll be like a lobster hand. I don't know yet. Okay, so we're gonna bring this arm like down. Okay, and it comes out, and it's thinner at the wrist. And then we're gonna make a little hand. Like that, I guess. And then, it's kind of hard to do it like upright. There. Yeah. Okay, I'm not touching it, because if I touch it, it's gonna mess it up. Okay, there we go. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm pretty happy with that. There, I have a little thumb going on. That's exciting. Yeah, he looks like a chubby-cheeked kid. He does kind of look like he's looking up, so that's fine. Yeah, okay. I need to put the dad's arm now. Okay. I feel like the dad's arm's gonna like touch his head, like grazing the child's head. Okay. Oh, stressful. The arm kind of just like comes out. Yeah, I definitely made this guy like a little bit further than where he should be. The shadows blend into each other. That's weird. I feel like that arm looks kind of strange. Okay, I need to make his sleeve come out a little bit. Fill in some more clothing-ish. I don't know what's going on there, but that looks really funny. All right. What did I mess up there? I think I made his shoulder look too rounded. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Okay. I'm gonna leave it for an hour to dry, and then I think I'll touch it up in a bit. His shoulder looks a little bit weird. It looks like he has like a weird puffed up chest, like he's really excited about showing his dad or showing his son the stars. I don't know. Maybe he's holding like a backpack in the front of his chest. I don't know, we'll see. Any suggestions as to what this is that I just painted? That would be awesome. But yeah, I think what my issue was, so for anyone, is that I should have made this line straighter to give him more of a shoulder line and then made him more straight coming down. So I might be able to fix that, but I'm a little apprehensive to make him out. But I think that's all I need to do. It needs to be more straight. It shouldn't have been so round. But yeah. Okay. It's kind of make me laugh. Okay, cool. Let me see. Okay, I think I just need it to dry because it's kind of shiny weirdly and it's being weird. I really want to touch it and fix it right now, but I'm not going to right yet. Okay, so now that I have my characters and I see their size, I'm going to start putting in the grass because now I can kind of like feel more comfortable doing that. I don't feel like it's going to be as weird. So I'm just with the black paint. I'm going to use the same brush, same black paint, and roll it around a little bit. And then I'm just going to put in some little blades of grass that's sticking up. The grass is kind of coming, there's some larger pieces, some smaller pieces, and I'm just going to bring it from the bottom up. Okay. And do the same thing on this side. Some that go a little bit in different ways. Okay. Yeah, sorry. So as you just saw, I just did the flicks coming from the bottom up, and then I just continued going with the same paintbrush. And then as I went, some of the grass isn't as opaque, and I kind of like that to kind of give some image of just it being very grassy and crazy there. And you can continue if you, this brush is created the strokes, it's pretty thick strokes. If you like a finer one, it'll be nice to get in there, but again, the canvas itself, if it's very coarse, it's going to be hard to get those like really fine lines going. Okay, I'm going to see if I can make his body a little less puffy. We'll see if that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to straighten this, and this should have also come down as well. I think I'm gonna have to try to like fix it by getting the background going. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna wait till it dries fully, and then I'm gonna try and do a little bit of a patch job on it so you guys can see how I do it. And if you end up needing to do that, which is something that is really, I hate it because I think it always ends up being a little bit weird. But then you can potentially use it too on yours if you end up putting some kind of black silhouette on something that you don't like. We can change that up. Okay, cool. So I think, so the way I'm going to do this is once it's dry, and the top part there is dry, which is good, I'm going to get white paint first, and then I'm going to just make the line I want on here. So I want this to come down like that, and then I want the sleeve to come down like that. I think like that's what I need, and the rest of this I don't want. I'm going to kind of like white it out with the white. The reason why I'm putting the white is that I want to see where I want the lines to be, and then the blue will stick better to it, because with the black it's going to be hard for the blue to pop on there. So I'm just going to do that for a moment. I'm going to let that dry a bit more. So I'll correct that line a bit. I can always go over that part with black after. And then I'm going to get some blue and then do that once this part dries. Then I'm going to go over it in blue, and then I'm going to like spread it out to try to like blend it into the background. But I just want to try to block out the weird line I made for his body. So right now it looks very strange, but that's what's happening for anyone who joined in and is like, what the hell is that white thing on his chest? That is what I'm trying to fix. His arm is messed up because I made him with the weird bubble on his chest. Okay. So yeah, so once I kind of get that where I want it, I would say my image is, I'm pretty much done. So I think I'm pretty happy with it. I kind of want to add like a baseball cap to this kid, just because my son always wears a baseball cap. So I might do that too. We'll see. Like I said, I might do a guitar, but at the same time, I don't know if that will take away from it being like stargazing. Although I guess you can always like play guitar and look at the stars, I suppose. Well, for the person playing the guitar, I guess they'll be busy playing the guitar, but other people can enjoy it. I'm just getting blue paint, and I'm just going on top of this white and dragging it out to kind of cover up my mistake. Or my happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. Okay, so it's not that I want it yet, but it's already looking better. A little patch job. It kind of looks like his soul is like escaping his body. That's twisted, but that's what I think of when I see what I just did. Happy Father's Day. Okay. Just gonna cover up some of the white that got into the areas I still want to keep black. Okay. Curios. I don't want to put a hat on this kid yet until I fix the background. But yeah, I think the shape, I don't know if you can already see, but I think the shape is already a little better. I love you, Jessica. That is, yeah, exactly. You're right. That's exactly what that was. The dad's just holding a baby sister in the carrier things. Of course. See? That's why you guys are so helpful. I love it. But it did kind of look like that. You're right. That's funny. Okay. So yeah, so it's just, I'm just waiting for that to dry off a bit, and then I'm just going to touch that up again just to kind of like clean it up and not make it look so bright. So I'm going to put another layer, kind of a blue once it dries, and then I'll streak it out. And then that should cover it. And then once that dries, I might just retouch that line in black just because there's a little line of white if I want to be really nitpicky, and then try to make it look more clean. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of time while I do that and see if there's something else that I want to do here. I do want to put his hat, a kid's hat, but again, I don't want to do that yet because it's going to interfere with my patch job. So I don't want to do that yet. Maybe I'll, you know what I'll do? I think I am going to add the guitar in, and I'll just show you how I'll do that. So what I'm doing where you can't see is I'm just going to Google and I'm going to search an image of a guitar silhouette, because I can kind of have an idea in my head of how I'd want it to be, but for me personally, I like to look at something and go from it. I feel like in my own head, like it doesn't work that way. So, oh, I like that one better. Okay, cool. So yeah, so basically oh, can I make that bigger? Oh, there we go. That's the way to do it. All right, 1 moment please while I figure out my computer, and I'll show you the image I found, and I'll show you how I'm doing this. Okay, so I found this silhouette image of this acoustic guitar. Now it's kind of looks similar to the one my husband has. I'm not a musician or guitar player at all, so perhaps there's one knob less or one knob more, but that is what I'm going with, and hopefully it's accurate. Okay, and just gonna get this set up again. Okay, and if you're done, you're done. Like if it works out and it looks good, cool. I'm just gonna add it kind of like leaning here. And I'm not going to worry too much about angles. I'm just gonna make it look like a guitar is kind of like leaning, and then it kind of is, I guess, leaning against his butt, I suppose. But that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to draw it in over here. So the actual neck of it, maybe not like, anyways, it's gonna be above his butt. So there's like the neck, and then I am gonna make a curve, a small curve, another small curve. I'm gonna fill it in. bigger curve. Like a figure 8 kind of, but the bottom is bigger. And again, it depends, like if your the dad has a different type of interest. Baseball bat. Look up at an image of a baseball bat and you can kind of just give it that impression, and it just makes it just a touch more personal, I think. It doesn't have to be perfect, says the perfectionist. Okay. So just come out a little bit, and then it has like little nubs. There we go. You can't see the nubs here because it's shadowy. Alright, that's what I've done. I put a little guitar there. Cool. I think it's proportion. I think it might be a bit small. Maybe it's a ukulele. No, it's bigger than a ukulele. How big is a guitar now? I think it's a little small, but you know, maybe it's the kid's guitar. Anyways, it's a guitar. My husband's a musician. He'll like it. Okay, so I think now this is dry. Yeah, this is dry to the touch. So I'm just gonna continue doing my patch job. So I'm gonna get more of my blue. And if you don't have to do a patch job, then you are doing better than me today, guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep putting in a little bit more of the dark. Okay, and then try to keep bringing it outwards like the way the sky is. If I cover with a star, I'll put the star back in later. Okay, I think that's already better. Yeah, that's good. But I want to fix this. Okay, so I like that. Okay, good. So there we go. So now it doesn't look weird anymore. There's my patch job. It still looks a little puffy-ish, but it definitely has a bit more angularity to it. So I'm happy with the way it is. I'm not gonna worry about that anymore. And I am gonna just put in a little baseball kind of cap on the kid, because my kid does not go really anywhere without a cap on his head. So I'm just gonna keep the shape-ish, and I'm just gonna bring the brim of the hat kind of up, and I'm just gonna add like a smidgen of girth to the head, to the front really. Just like that, I think. Yeah, that looks alright. I'm gonna touch it, I'm gonna ruin it, but I'm not, no. I just want to make that brim a little fatter. There you go. He's wearing a hat, and I'm tilted upwards because he's looking up. So I just have the brim on an angle upwards to kind of give that impression. It looks weird now because it's just kind of wet, but that works out nicely. I just noticed too, like his sleeve looks a little bit odd here. Just gonna bring that down a bit, and I'm just going to a little bit more of a sleeve. So once you have that image, if there's little areas you can touch up, you can do that. I think to here, I kind of want to make a little bit of an angle of a sleeve. How would the dad's hand go? I think it'd kind of come down a bit. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I think that's good. I'm just gonna look at it a bit closer there. Yeah, good. And I'm just gonna put in a few more little dots in and around my patch job area, just so that the stars still look cool. Since I'm doing it still kind of and the canvas is wet, every time I do it, I'm putting more new fresh paint on my brush because Otherwise, you'll pick up the blue paint and the stars will be light blue and not white. There you go. No one will know. Well, you guys will, but he won't know, so it's okay. Okay, there we go. I think that's it. I kind of would like my moon to have like the line is a little bit weird on that, but I think for now I will call that a wrap. So there is the image. So Stargazing with Dad and the original image. Very similar, slightly different. We alternated it a bit. There's the original image, and this one is my version of it. I'll snap a picture of this and I'll put it in the comment section, so if you want to refer to it, you can. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. So I hope you've enjoyed the session, and I'd love to see your painting, so please snap a pic of it and stick it in the comments. Again, I get it if you want to wait until after Father's Day if it's a gift. That makes complete sense. That'd be fantastic, but I'd also love to hear and see what you guys did in terms of modifying it. Did you add another kid in it? Did you put a baseball bat? Did you put a golf club? I don't know. It'd be really cool to see if there's any other modifications and how it turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this session. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday and a great weekend, and I will see you guys all soon. Bye!